Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Understable Podcast, episode number 50. Oh, yeah. But in all seriousness, welcome to the Understable Podcast, episode number 50. I am your host, Brandon, and my co-host,
Mark.
Mark just discovered his soundboard, ladies and gentlemen. So
the soundboard that I've had for 2 years, I've never really played around with.
Yeah.
So don't mind us.
So that could be a thing where, you know, if that music just kind of drops, then things have to get funky and sexy and fun. But today we are going to be talking a little bit about the All-Star Weekend, and we're also going to be talking a little bit, I think, about the changes at the Disc Golf Network. I'm sure a lot of you have been kind of in tune about what's been happening. You might have formed your own opinions on that as well. We're just going to kind of briefly touch on some of the changes. But first, social media shout out. Mark, you got any shout outs for us before we begin?
Yeah, my biggest thing, shout out to Catalyst Disc Golf, who has sponsored me for the 2024 season. Although I will not be competing, I'm still running a league down here in Dayton, and I'm excited to partner with her again for this season.
All right. Thank you.
So,
Any more? Anything else we got? Socials?
Yeah, check out my YouTube channel. I'm working on growing it. I've been posting some shorts up. I'll be working on videos this year. Just search me, Mark Boonstra. Should be it, I think. Mm-hmm. Brandon, you got the link in the video, I believe.
I do. At Mark Boonstra 3171 for YouTube.
Yes. And then you guys can find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram, just search my name, which is the first one that pops up. Might be the only Mark Boonstra in existence. I don't know.
I'm the only Brandon Schmucker that I've ever found. I've Googled myself. I'm the only one I've ever found, like on Facebook or like anywhere. So one of a kind, truly.
Yeah. So throwing it over to Brandon. Let's get to your socials.
Right. So socials for me, you can find me on Instagram at Brandon L. Schmucker or BL Schmucker. I don't remember. It'll be in the description. Find me on YouTube at 0_BLS. That is for Pokemon content. For any of you who like Pokemon, find me over there. And then shout outs to Disc Baron for sponsoring me again for the 2024 season. And hopefully we can make that relationship go beyond 2024. And then last but not least, for the Understable Podcast, Facebook.com/the Understable Podcast 21 and Instagram.com/the Understable Podcast 21. Mark.
Brandon,
shall we get started? Oh,
yeah, but first, do you have a discount code this year through Disc Baron?
I do.
For our listeners,
I do. If you guys want to save a little bit of money, use code 71353 at checkout. That's my PDGA number. We might be chatting with them to try to get like a channel discount code for you guys. See if we can get them to sponsor the show.
That would be cool.
So, all right, but for real now, let's talk about disc golf, man.
Let's talk disc golf.
Let's do it.
Let's pretend we're throwing some frisbees and talk some disc golf.
Okay. All right. You want to lead us off?
Sure. All-Star event weekend happened last week, and it was interesting. Teams were drafted, I think, a couple days before the event. Mm-hmm. So we'll start with the FPO. The two captains, Missy Gannon and Owen Scoggins, because your crush was not there.
She was not there. She's got other things. She's got other things to do across the pond, man.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that because there's a lot that she's been doing.
Anyway, she's a superstar.
So Team Missy, you've got Allie Smith, Ella Hansen, Holland Hanley, Katrina Allen, and Sarah Hokum. Pretty solid, yeah.
Yep, stacked.
Yeah, pretty solid team. Mm-hmm. And then Team Scoggins picked up Jessica Weiss, Hannah Bloomroos, Kat Murch, Macy Valdez, and Haley King. Again, another very solid team.
Yeah, also pretty stacked.
So, let's see.
So, looking at them, bird's eye view of the teams, the first four names, I mean, Katrina Allen, obviously, she's been streaky, but, she's in kind of a slump right now. But for Missy Gannon's team, the first four names really just jump off the page to me. Like just Missy Gannon, Allie Smith, Ella Hansen, and Holland Hanley, especially to me right now, really jump out as just dominant players in FPO right now. Like they have the potential to absolutely go off. With Own's team, I don't see a lot of that consistently. Like Own herself, very good. Definitely probably the best player on the team. Henna can be pretty explosive as well, but not consistently.
Same with Kat Merch.
Same with Kat, and then same with
we
Haley.
saw that last season.
I mean, same with Haley. Like, we know what Haley's capable of. It's just doesn't happen week in and week out.
Right.
So yeah, that's my bird's eye view analysis of the teams. What do you think?
I'm right there with you, same boat. I mean, just looking at things on paper, Missy definitely had the favor and had the stronger team.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. Did we want to talk about MPO teams, or do we want to talk about results for FPO first?
Let's break the teams down first.
Okay. So for MPO,
Calvin Heimberg and Isaac Robinson were your captains.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those that don't know how this works, they take the top 12 ranked people in both fields,
mm-hmm.
and those are who are eligible to be drafted.
Okay.
So each team is a snake draft. One pick, and then two, back and forth until there's one pick left.
Yep.
So for those of you who don't understand how that works. Anyway, so Calvin Heimberg's team is James Proctor, Anthony Barella, Ricky Wysocki, Matty O, and Chris Dickerson.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a very experienced team with the exception of Anthony Barella.
Yes.
Because of how young he is on tour.
Then we've got Isaac Robinson's team, Cole Radlin, Aaron Gossage, Ezra Robinson, Ganber, and Kyle Klein. Pure youth. Everything about this team is young guns. There's a stark contrast to the teams that were drafted here. So both of these guys had strategies. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys met before the draft, the captains, and were like, hey, I'm going to just draft all the old. Let's do something where I draft the older guys and you draft all the younger guys. You know what I mean? Because even Anthony Barella, I am very certain that Anthony Barella, who you could say is the youngest player on Calvin's team, has more tour seasons under his belt than all of Isaac's team, including Isaac.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Anthony Barella, I'm pretty sure, has been around longer than Kyle and Gannon, and Cole and Isaac. I don't know about Ezra. Well, Ezra hasn't been around.
We just saw Ezra surge up like last 2 years.
Yeah.
So he's fairly new to the tour as well.
He's been playing, but he took this really interesting philosophy where he practiced. He like wanted to do pro. He didn't want to play am. So he like practiced for like 1 or 2 years and didn't play like any tournaments or whatever. And then he just was like, all right, I'm going straight to the pro tour, or straight to pro. So he took an interesting, unorthodox way of getting into the pros, but working out for him. He's pretty dang good. So,
well, could this potentially be a changing of the guard? Because here's why. Because you have your seasoned and experienced players in there,
mm-hmm.
and for those that actually watched and already know the results of what happened, young guys came in and kind of did very well.
Very well.
But you have like Isaac Robinson's team is the new face of disc golf.
It is, and
minus maybe Aaron Gossage, because I haven't seen him do a whole lot in tournaments. But Cole Radlin's up there, Ezra Robinson's consistent, Gannonburg obviously,
mm-hmm.
and Kyle Klein's consistent,
and
then 2x or 1x. I mean,
the another thing, like a little bit of fourth wall breaking here, just like a little bit of transparency, like as far as the show is concerned. We're recording right now on the final day of the chess.com Invitational. And the young guns are doing well there as well. Like there's a few consistent faces at the top. Like we've got like Ricky is probably doing the best at the moment. AB is in the lead, but it's just a bunch of young guys around Ricky. You know what I mean?
Ricky's one stroke behind too. So
yeah, but I think Ricky's gonna have a good year, man. He looks like he's making a few mistakes. From what I've gathered, I've seen him make a few mistakes. early season stuff, but he looks pretty in tune, man. He looks like he's comfortable with his bag right now. I've seen some really nice like mid-range forehands and stuff out of him. He looks like he's gonna have a good year. But anyway, let's keep talking about All-Star Weekend. So we got the young guns versus the old guard. Where do we go from here? You want to talk about some of let's talk about the results.
Yeah, results.
Yeah.
So, as kind of expected with the FPO, Missy Gannon's team won pretty much by a landslide for disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they do it is they only score the doubles event on Saturday and the singles event on Sunday, and the best cumulative score between the two of them,
mm-hmm.
based on their point system and their breakdown, is who wins.
Yeah.
Missy's team scored 6 points, and Scoggins' team scored 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So
that was kind of a blowout win, in my opinion, for disc golf.
Yep. And then give us the results for the MPO, and then I kind of want to talk about the course a little bit here. So how did it go with the old guys versus the young guys?
Well, here, let me break down the FPO real quick. So Team Misty scored 2 points for doubles
mm-hmm.
and 4 points for singles. So that's based on how many teams won their card, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Scoggins scored 2 points on singles and 1 point on double. So,
okay.
MPO side, Calvin's team scored 4 points. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Isaac's team scored 5. So the young guys by 1. And what's interesting is they both scored 1.5 points on doubles. And the kicker was Isaac's team scored 3.5 points on the singles. First 2.5 for Vinny.
Okay. Yeah.
So doubles are 1 point per match with 2 teams. Or no. They're just 1 point per match.
Mm-hmm.
Singles are also 1 point per match. So
mm-hmm.
there were some ties in there that they give it the half point.
Yep.
I was kind of shocked because I was hands down expecting Team Calvin to win.
Yeah. I want to say, you know what I think the advantage is, really, truly? Team Isaac hits longer putts. Like outside of Ricky, Ricky is probably the best. Ricky and Calvin are the best putters on Team Calvin.
For sure.
Every single guy on Team Isaac is a threat from 50 feet. Every single guy, especially Gannon. Gannon can hit from anywhere, much like Ricky.
Yeah.
But as you know, and I'm watching, and this makes sense because Ricky's probably the best putter on Team Calvin, and so far through the chess.com invitational, is it the invitational? Chess.com invitational?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Through chess.com, Ricky has hit a few long ones, but he's hitting the top of the basket a lot. I've seen him hit the top of the basket 3 or 4 times so far. So, that's kind of what's going on there. I really truly think that putting is what separates. You have to hit 50 footers to score on this course.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Team Isaac takes advantage of Team Calvin, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I did watch most of the All-Star event, but my brain's just not remembering everything that went down with it. So,
and then so this brings us to this course. This course has been renamed. What is the name of this course now?
Olympus disc golf course.
Olympus.
I think it is.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say Atlantis, but my brain.
Close enough.
Yes. This course looks really hard. Really, really hard. This course is not necessarily new. They used to play this course for Throw It on the Mountain. So that was an event that happened in Florida every single year. Paul Macbeth now owns this property and has changed it to make it a championship caliber course.
Well, Paul Macbeth and Dylan Cease bought the property, and if you recall, a year ago had that big lawsuit about the property.
Yep.
That was settled on, and I'm kind of glad it was because this track is tough. I can see there's a lot of struggles out there.
I think that guy got cold feet. I don't remember the name of the gentleman who was going to sue him, but he I think he ended up getting cold feet about that. He didn't respond to the defense. Like the defense would reach out. I mean, you know what I mean? He didn't respond to any of that stuff. So I think he kind of got cold feet there. But yeah, a bona fide advanced AMP1 player just like decided to try to sue Paul Macbeth. Not a great idea. But yes, you're right. This course looks really hard. Paul Macbeth did a great job of making a course that he wants to play closer to par, something that's closer to, I don't want to say traditional golf because this looks nothing like a golf course. But there's landing zones. There's really bad rough. It's just so interesting to watch. And this course looks really hard. I feel bad for lefties. There's only like 3 places where you're throwing sidearm off the tee or getting a nice lefty shot. Everything else is it's very backhand. It's very technical, very backhand friendly.
Well, it kind of favors Paul's game, though. I mean, Paul's a very dominant backhand thrower and throws sidearms if he needs to. So it makes sense in the design that he would focus on that kind of style.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, it's like slow panning off the tee. It's a lot of like slow panning hyzers through a little gap. You know what I mean? Something that Paul is very, very good. You know, a little hyzer flip that's pushing forward.
Late
turns, stuff like that. Like right in Paul's wheelhouse. But yeah, I actually find the course very interesting. I personally would I'm just like, man, I don't know if I could play this course because it looks really hard. But I think
it's fun to try at least.
I'm not sure how I feel about it for an all-star event. Well, they did have bad weather.
Yeah, so with that, like the FPOs, they played both rounds of the front 9, I think it was, or the back 9. They played the same 9 twice on a loop.
Yes. Yep.
For the doubles, the men played the same, and then for the singles, FPO played the same 9 on a loop, but the men only played 1 set of 9.
Okay. They
only had 1 round 9, which could be partially why they had the half a points.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah, I think it's a great course. I think it's a great place to start the season. I also think it's a weird place to the All-Star event.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like the course is really great. I think it's an amazing addition. I think All-Star weekend feels better, I feel like, in Vegas. But I also think we don't need All-Star weekend to start the year. It should be in the middle of the year or towards the end of the year. I don't think it makes sense to have at the beginning. I mean, I guess, but like you could have had Kristen, if you have it later in the year, Kristen Tatar can be there. You know, if you have it,
you just want to see Kristen.
Everybody wants to see Kristen.
That is fair.
You know, so yeah, I don't think this is something that's necessary. It's not on people's radar at the beginning of the year. It's only on their radar if they're early enough to practice for the first Pro Tour event, which a lot of players weren't. I mean, I think you could get. I mean, these are great players, but I feel like you could get even more players if you had it in the middle of the year. You know, just a random thought.
So if you did move it, if you were to be the one in charge and move the All-Star event, how would you do your drafts? Would you do the current top 12 of the year, or would you go off the previous year's rankings?
I think either.
A lot can change in 1 year.
I think either is acceptable, but I think it would make the most sense to do it based off current standings, honestly, and maybe offer some sort of like pay incentive, almost like, you know, like Pro Bowl, you know, just be in there, you get paid. Maybe offer some sort of cash incentive where like, if you make the All-Star event, then you make X amount of money or so. I don't know. It just some sort of, you know, some sort of pot of money or something. Just a little something that gets the players more interested. Maybe there's a bonus for being a captain. Maybe there's a bonus for being drafted. Just stuff like that. I don't think having it at the beginning of the year is the best. I think this event should be moved to the middle of the year, especially when people are. Like you want to see a heated putting competition. You want to see a tight putting competition. Then get them when they're in mid-season putting form. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get Ricky Wysocki. Get Ricky Wysocki in August.
Yeah, you'll have a putting competition between Missy, Owen, and Kristen, hands down.
Exactly.
Top 3 putters in FPO.
Yep,
hands down.
You might maybe you see a shot that goes over 713 feet. This is some foreshadowing in the distance competition. You know, it's the middle of the summer. Discs are flying farther because it's warmer. The players are warmed up. The players have been doing this for a long time. I think the middle of the year is a better time to have it, you know, because we could have had Eagle in the distance competition. I don't know if he wasn't there, was he?
I don't believe so. No.
You could have Eagle in August at the distance competition. Who doesn't want to see that?
Tell me about it. No, I agree with you. I think that it should be later in the year. I like that idea. I really do. Current standings.
Yeah.
Would be great. Because again, I don't want to throw shade on anybody, but Jessica Weiss probably wouldn't be there. Macy Valdez won't be there. At least not this year.
No.
Kat Allen probably wouldn't be there, and Sarah Hokum probably wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So you change the entire field up.
Yeah.
That changes the entire outcome.
Not that we don't love those players, but are those the
current,
not at all. Are those the current best players? No, because Kristen Tatar's not there. Simple as that. You don't have the best players especially in FPO. If Kristen's not there, you do not have the best players. You're missing the best player. So
yes,
just a random thought. Middle of the year next year. Let's make it happen, DGN. DGPT, not DGN. Pardon me.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on starting in Florida versus Vegas? The difference in tracks, the difference in weather, just the whole feel.
I think this is a better place to start from a player's perspective. It's warmer. You don't run the risk of snow. I mean, it was windy down there, but you don't run the risk of the same kind of open Las Vegas winds of the early spring. I think this is a better place to start, and the track is really hard. Like this, I'm excited to see how this course evolves over time and watch it get beat in and stuff like that, and become a place where spectators can, because it looks like it's kind of tight for spectators. But I'm sure that's something Paul already is aware of and probably working on.
Yeah. Well, and again, with it's more or less a brand new course. Yes, same property. It was a temporary course though with Third on the Mountain.
Yes.
It's now a permanent course, and when you put a course in, it takes a couple 3 years for things to beat in and be wore out. And,
Yeah.
And really have the changes to the course that need to happen.
Yeah.
I like the change because I was not really a big fan of Vegas. It just seemed like it was big shot after big shot and landing zone. And it just, I don't think Vegas was punishing enough for the Pro Tour players.
Yeah. I would, if they brought that back, I would love to see that more like in the middle of the year. West Coast in the middle of the summer. I'm sure it's beautiful. Things are more green. It's probably not so windy.
Probably hot.
Yeah, so I guess that's another thing.
But that's the other thing. Like they do the mid-season West Coast swing, they could just add it to that on their way back through.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think this is a better change. I think this is, I think the players are probably welcoming this more. It's harder for sure. You're gonna get tested immediately, but this is the Pro Tour. You know what I mean? Buckle up. Buckle up, man.
Right.
So.
And that's the, and I know I've talked with our buddy Kevin about it, and it seems like a lot of the changes they're making is make holes longer rather than make them more technical. And I think this is a great change and a great design by Paul, because now you have a technical course, like you said, you have landing zones, but you still have to hit landing zones 500 feet off the tee box.
Right.
So it's a true challenge of skill and being able to get distance while being accurate and staying consistent and not getting off the fairway.
Yeah. What's the hottest round we've seen so far? Like 7 down, 8 down or something like that?
I think Cole Radallen went, no, not Cole. It was Nicholas Antela went, I think 11 down. Or he had 11 birdies or something in the first round. It was crazy.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious to see.
There have been some good rounds on the MPO side.
Yeah. Yeah, let's shift gears here really quick to the skills competition. We've got accuracy, putting, and distance. What do you want to start with?
The only one I actually watched was the putting.
Okay. Well, let's start with that then.
Putting had, I think it was 6 different stations. You had 5 putts from each station, and they adjusted in points from closest to farthest out. With the last station, you only got 2 putts, but they were worth 5 points each.
Yeah, and
Scoggins
that was, like
was the first
50,
on the track.
right? Yeah.
Owen Scoggins was the first on the track and set the bar high for the ladies at 37 or 39 points.
Which, yeah, that's really good.
That's really good. She made, I think it was 17 out of the first 18 putts or something like that. She only missed one putt in 3 stations or 4 stations. She's really good.
Yeah.
And they got to the second to last, and it's just a real tight window.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how any of them could have made that putt. Like, I know I couldn't have made it. It's crazy.
Yep. There's a lot of like putting through trees and stuff like that. Like you're like in a tree and you need to spin it through, like
straddle out.
There's a lot of that.
It really tested every aspect of putting.
Yes, it did. Yep.
So, I did watch a little bit of the distance. I didn't catch all of it, but I did watch some of it. And just watching AB shred the distance contest, like nobody could even get close. Yep. It's kind of nice to watch that.
So putting competition, Andrew Marweed beat James Proctor in the finals. I think he scored 53 or 54. I think he nailed both of the last putts from the final station. I think to win. I know he nailed the last one. But it was pretty close. I think James Proctor had 49, and I think Andrew Marweed had 53, 54. I don't remember off the top of my head. But no surprise there, honestly, that he's a great putter. He's a Michigan boy, and I feel like a lot of our best players are great putters. So, Barham is known for his putting. Kyle Klein is a distance guy, but Marweed is definitely, outside of his starter, he is a putting kind of guy. So, if you come to Michigan, be prepared to beat people out with putting.
Well, even now, like Isaac came out and set the bar for MPO with 47 points. Ricky was right behind him with 46.
Yep.
So it was close right off the start.
Yeah, it was tight. And like I said, if you had this competition in the middle of the year, Ricky probably gets 55. You know what I mean?
He probably misses 1 or 2.
Exactly. So yeah, and then distance competition.
Doubles.
Yep. Yeah. Distance competition. You alluded to it. AB wins with a 713 foot throw. His second throw of the day was 703 feet. Nobody ever eclipsed 700. So AB had already won the competition on his second throw. Which, and they did a really good job with the drone footage. I don't know why, I've seen some criticisms of the drone footage. I thought it was really awesome. I could watch AB's 713 foot throw over and over again on that drone footage. It was really, really well done, in my opinion. But yeah, nobody really even came close to AB. Just the fact that nobody even touched 700. I think Ezra might have had like 690 or something like that, and that was like the next closest.
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised by his distance one bit. I mean, he's probably the farthest thrower on tour.
Yeah, potentially. His form is.
I mean, not even
good.
Just with the distance competition, just out on the course, he might be the farthest throwing player on tour.
Yeah, we know he's
what
explosive.
I was surprised. Yeah, what I was surprised about, and I alluded to this earlier, was his 360 backhand 622 foot turnover, just straight turnover.
Yep.
I can get a turnover to go about 300.
Yeah.
320.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy's doing a 360 at 600 plus feet. Crazy.
Yeah, my worm burners are good for like 270. You know what I mean? And his are like 600 feet. Yeah, but we know he's explosive.
Don't get me wrong. You've got Eagle that can throw 700 foot rollers.
Yeah. Yep.
And Eagle can bomb too. Like, we know he can throw well into the 600 foot range.
Yep.
He wasn't there though, and I'm guessing that's because he's letting his elbow and his shoulder heal up from his injury a year and a half ago.
It's almost like if you had it in the middle of the year, he would be there.
I know.
Just a thought. Something I think that needs to change. So then final thing with the accuracy contest, pretty similar to the putting contest where there's 5 gaps you need to throw through. You're throwing from the same spot every time, but there's basically trees. The basket is like straight off the tee. There's 4 different trees in your way, and you need to throw through. So like one station is to the right of the tree, and then in between 2, and then straight at it. And the next one is left side of the tree, and then the other one is wide left of another tree. So it's this kind of wide range. So you have to do your backhands, your straight shots, and your sidearms or turnovers. And you get points for bullseyes, points for circle one, and then there's wide left and wide right. I don't think you get any points for those. So Robot Chicken, Chris Dickerson, takes that one. That's not a surprise. We know he's accurate. We know he can get up and down. And honestly, and then the runner-up was Alden Harris. Honestly, it wasn't even close. It was not even close in the finals. Chris really made it his very early on. But yeah, we know that's what Chris is good at. So that's kind of the All-Star Weekend in a nutshell. What were your overall thoughts on it?
Outside of the weather, I thought it was a good event.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take the weather out and you're just talking the format, the layout, it's the same format as we've had years before. Only I think the skills challenge was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and disc golf is back. That's all I can say. Disc golf is back. What's not to enjoy about that?
Yep. I think this has been a good change. What
I did not like, and this kind of segues into our next topic, is the fact that I could not find any live coverage of the All-Star event.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As somebody who's paid for DGN for the last almost 2 years, I could not find any live coverage.
Yeah.
Disappointed, for sure. DGN, take notes if you listen.
Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head. We're going to segue into something. I just said, it was a big change. It was a good change. Now we're talking about another change here really quick. We're talking about the Disc Golf Network has rolled out new prices and new plans for their subscription service. So we'll start from the top, okay? If you are a PDGA member, you get a discount on this service. The PDGA and Disc Golf Network are networking very closely. They're aligning a lot of things, and they're cutting out a lot of third-party things like UDisc and stuff like. They're keeping as much stuff in-house as possible, and they're creating a pretty tight network between the two of them. So if you are a PDGA member, there's DGN Basic Plan, Standard, and Pro. Yearly for Basic, if you are a PDGA member, you get it for free, $60 a year. And that includes, some live coverage. Let's see, first round events, and then you get full live coverage of certain events, which is that's a weird list. Chess.com.
So here, I got it pulled up. So you
same.
Get live coverage to the first round of DGPT and PDGA Pro majors on one device. You get full coverage on select events, Chess.com, as you were saying, Champions Cup, MVP, and US WDGC.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get live coverage for 2 rounds of the PDGA Worlds this year.
So very specific.
So for free, is it worth it? If you don't play a lot or you don't watch a lot, but you're a member, sure. You can watch some disc golf if you have some spare time.
Yeah.
But that's it. You get one round of each tournament, and that is it.
Yeah. It's just a nice little. To be perfectly honest, what this is a nice perk for PDGA members. It's just an extra.
Yes.
It's a little something. It's just a little something because it's basically the price of a PDGA membership.
Yeah. So if you think about it, you're buying the subscription and you're getting PDGA for free.
Yep. So it's not horrible. It's not horrible. If you're a hardcore disc golf watcher, though, absolutely not. You have to upgrade. And speaking of the upgrade, why don't you roll out the price and the perks of Standard?
So Standard was, I believe, $12.99 a month or $130 a year plus tax.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the price for the.
Yep. If you're a PDGA member, it's $70 a year. So rolls, it's pretty similar. It's basically $10 cheaper if you're a PDGA member. The whole package.
You get a pretty good discount.
Yes.
What the Standard includes is access to live coverage of all disc golf networks, excluding the European Open, USDGC, and Throw Pink. I'm a little bummed about that because those are some big events.
Yes, especially
The
European
nice
Open,
thing,
man.
the nice thing about it is you get the ability to stream on 2 devices. So if I got it, I can share with Brandon, and we can both have more things to talk about.
Yep.
You have access to ad-free versions of all Jomez Pro next day post-production and tournament or post-production tournament coverage, excluding the ones I mentioned above.
Yep.
You also have early access to non-competition Jomez stuff, like their podcasts and things like that.
Yep.
Another thing you get with the standard is you get some exclusive perks, 20% off at the Disc Golf Pro Tour shop, 20% off at Jomez, and 10% off on DGPT tickets.
Yep.
We'll discuss that in a minute, Brandon.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're into disc golf, if you enjoy watching it, if you work nights like me and have nothing to do on a Friday but disc golf and you can't play, this is a great package.
Yeah.
I had it last year as part of with the PDGN membership. It was like $6.99 a month.
Yep.
I had it. I watched almost every single event. If I wasn't playing in a tournament, I was watching disc golf. So it's worth it if you're really want to stay in touch and watch the events.
Yeah. You got a lot of value out of this last year.
I did. I got tons of value out of it last year.
Yep.
So especially before my tournament season really kicked off.
Yeah. Yep.
And last but not least, not a huge fan of this one, but it is the DGN Pro, the ultimate disc golf experience, as they say. Brandon, go ahead.
So, Pro membership, if you are a PDGA member, $140 a year. If you are not a PDGA member, $240 for the year. And what does that get you, Mark?
All right, DGN Pro for the expensive price. Gets you all live coverage, including European, USDGC, and Throw Pink on 3 devices simultaneous. So if you got some friends that you all want to chip in on and get this, which is not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea at all.
You can chip in 3 ways and I'll be able to watch it.
Yeah.
You get access to ad-free versions of all Jomez next day post-production, which is included in the standard also.
Yep.
You also get the early access to non-competition Jomez and DGN content. Here's where the kicker kind of is. You get exclusive premium live content, including feature hole broadcasts, single camera hole streams, alternate commentary broadcasts, and more. Tired of listening to Terry and Valerie? Well, find someone else to listen to.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
You also have an extensive list of other benefits, such as the monthly newsletter, the 20% at the Pro Shop, 20% at Jomez, 10% DGPT, same as before. But you also will receive 2 free DGPT general admission tickets to any event.
So not horrible.
And tickets they're not expensive, but for 2 tickets, you're looking at like $40 or $50.
Right.
So at the end of the day, is it kind of worth it? It might be.
Potentially, especially
just throwing it out there.
Especially if you, like you said, go in with some friends. If you got 2 or 3 people who are just as into disc golf as you, then yeah. So for me, and I think there's been a lot of confusion around where Jomez fits in on this because Disc Golf Network, they pretty much bought out Jomez, right? Okay.
Yes.
So they have invested in Jomez now. They've added camera crew. They're investing in making Jomez and live coverage just a better experience overall. Not that Jomez was bad. Jomez is the bar for post-production coverage.
Yeah, Jomez is the bar, but Disc Golf Network was terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched any last year. Grainy, video feeds cut out.
Yep.
And if you've watched this year, if you've watched it, Brandon, or if our fans have watched any of this weekend's events, the live coverage is phenomenal.
Okay.
Cameras are HD. You're not losing signal. You're not having video cut out. The quality has dramatically increased.
So here's where there was a lot of confusion on where Jomez's post-production coverage role is. A lot of people thought that we would no longer get our free videos on YouTube the next day, right? Everyone was kind of worried that Jomez was going to get locked behind a paywall with this because it says post-pro coverage, nothing. They're still doing post-pro coverage, but there's a lot more ads. There's ads after like every single hole at Jomez when you're watching on YouTube right now. You're going to get all of that stuff, but ad-free if you have the standard or the pro. Now, as far as the future of Jomez goes, this is where things get a little... There's question marks and asterisks and reading between the lines here. Jonathan Gomez came out and said, if viewers don't have to change their viewing habits this year. Now, this year, those two words, this year, those are what is really kind of causing a stir, because people kind of think that the Jomez coverage that we have been used to is going to get locked behind a paywall next year or in the following year, something like that. And we don't know if the Disc Golf Pro Tour is kind of barring other media from being there. I could see a world where Disc Golf Pro Tour bars other coverages. Like I'm going to throw Central Coast out there. They're not really like a thing, but like I'm just off the top of my brain, I can't think of a lot of other channels.
Gatekeeper,
OTB. I think they are partnered with Gatekeeper right now. They're doing a few select events, but Gatekeeper is not traveling. So the thing about Gatekeeper is the Disc Golf Pro Tour is basically recording extra footage of some events and going to send it to Gatekeeper, and Gatekeeper is going to do post-production coverage of it 2 weeks later or something like that. So kind of a bad deal for Gatekeeper, but they're still going to get their stuff out there and not have to travel. Next year, so what I think this year is it's going to be like a trial year. They're going to give you a lot of Jomez. Like they're going to try to show you what a standard membership will look like in the future. And they're going to do that this year. And I don't have any reason to, I'm not going to die on this hill, this opinion, this take. I think what's going to happen is they would love to put Jomez behind a paywall. I really do. I think they would love to do that. I think they would love to make Jomez be part of the standard or the pro package, and you would not, as a standard YouTube viewer, be able to get the kind of Jomez that we've been used to for the past how many years?
A lot.
I'm kind of thinking that they're going to show off a lot of what they've been working on Jomez this year. They're going to show off a lot of changes. I've already in the first video I've watched from Jomez, you can tell they have more cameras because they're giving you little highlights on every hole of like, okay, here's what AB did on this hole. Here's what Gannon Burr did on this hole after your feature card has already played through. So I think you're going to start seeing, they're going to whet your appetite here for next year or the year after. Will they ultimately do it? I hope not, because I think that would be an awful, awful thing for disc golf to put Jomez behind a paywall. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts?
Oh, I'm in the same boat with you. Yeah, Jomez should just stay with the free coverage on YouTube and our post production, and that's to me that's the whole reason to buy or not buy DGN subscription.
But now here's the thing. Say Jomez says they want to be free, they might not have a choice. If Disc Golf Pro Tour says, or Disc Golf Network or what, they might say, nah, we're putting this behind a paywall. How far will the reach? How far will the hands of Disc Golf Pro Tour go? You know what I mean?
Right. That's a good thought.
We don't know. And I think a lot of this year will depend on that. The successes or the failures of this, or if they just go straight up greedy route and just raise the price next, or just put more things behind a paywall. I think that'll be bad for disc golf, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, as far as like, you shouldn't have to make money to watch disc golf. But you have to.
No, we're not an exclusive club like ball golf is. We're not to that
football
point yet.
or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
This is still
like,
a small.
We're still
trying
to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're still trying to grow the sport, and they're going about it the wrong way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's too early.
Make it more accessible. It is. It's too early.
It's too early, especially to put these kind of things behind a paywall.
Right. And with with all the things that have shaken up this year with the PDGA's decisions on certain things and UDIS jacking their price up to double, it's a lot of things that are pushing people away more than drawing them to, and that's gonna hurt long term.
Yeah, it's kind of
just
weird,
like with these player contracts. You got Paul on a 10-year, $10 million contract. Can Discraft sustain that for 10 years? What happens if Paul gets hurt and his career is over this year? Is he going to sell this 5 years down the road? We don't know. Probably not. He's not Michael Jordan.
No. Luckily for Paul, we know he can do other things. Like, this course was amazing. He could make so much money just designing courses. No,
Paul can.
Paul,
Paul. Can Discraft afford to sustain Paul McBeth's contract, Paige Pierce's contract, Chris Clemens' contract, Chris Dickerson, and all these big contracts if the people stop paying for disc, if the people stop paying for events, they stop paying for PDJ and Disc Golf Network?
Yeah.
Because sponsors get kickbacks, I almost guarantee it.
You know what I'm...
So...
Go ahead, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Is it something that's sustainable long term to have these big contracts and all this stuff behind paywalls? Because I'll be honest, I'm on the fence about buying DGN. If I get it, it'll be standard. That's just because of the podcast, because I want to be informed of what we're talking about.
You see, and now that's an excellent point. Like, you're alluding to what I'm kind of thinking about here is like, now I feel like with this service, and I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with having a service like this. It's just what you put in it. So here's my thing. I feel like now you are being forced, sort of forced, based on your wallet size, to choose. Are you a casual disc golfer? Or are you a disc golf fanatic? Are you the guy who's going to get the subscription service? Are you going to buy the PDGA membership and pay all of that money for tournaments and then eat the fee like I did to withdraw from a few tournaments last year for whatever reason? Like, do you have the money for that? Do you have the money to be that disc golfer? Or are you just going to be a casual disc golfer who can't afford the nice services, who can't afford the PDGA membership, who can't afford to play tournaments, who can't afford to eat the fees? So instead, you just buy UDisc and use it for your casual scorekeeping with your friends and your statistics for yourself. I personally, to me, I feel like I am being forced to choose based on how much money I make, what kind of disc golfer I'm going to be. Am I going to be the weekend warrior? You better have the money and the time and the skills. Whereas before it used to be, do you have the time and the skills? Now it's, do you have the money? I don't have the money. So,
well, especially in today's economy, like everything is so inflated and overpriced.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm the one that's losing out the most, because if I get standard, I can't watch 3 of the biggest events of the year.
Right. Which is whatever, but like, you're going to get plenty of other
events. Here's my
thing.
But still,
last
year I had the exact same plan last year because it was what was included, and it was $6.99 a month.
Yeah.
I got all of the tournaments.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't lose any rounds. I didn't have to pay for anything extra.
Yeah.
This year they're bringing that exact same package, but hey, you're going to lose 3 events just because.
Yeah. Because we want to push you to buy the more expensive one. Look,
and I'm sorry, if I'm paying for a 12-month subscription, I should get discounted price based on the monthly price.
Right.
So that pro, if you look at it, that pro subscription is $19.99 a month for non-members, or $240 for the year. They did not discount it at all for paying for a whole year at a time.
Yeah,
I disagree with that.
Yeah,
they should have dropped the price to $200.
Yep.
Now, again, like I said, the coverage is a lot better. The video's a lot clearer. There's less issues with it. So they have made massive improvements, which means they have probably brought in more people, and those people have to get paid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, increase the price, but I think it's a little excessive. Just like UDisc, I will not be paying for UDisc this year. I don't see a big benefit.
I might, because I'm not going to play a lot of tournaments because I don't have the money.
There's other free apps. You can use UDisc for free still.
Yeah. I like the statistics though. Can I still record my shots on free? If I can record my distances, then it's still useful to me. But
you should be able to. I haven't tested it.
Yeah,
but I know I played Echo Valley, and I added Kevin to the scorecard, and he could follow along every hole by hole. So what do you really get with UDisc Pro? As a casual player, what do you really benefit from a pro?
And you know what? Like right now, maybe there's not a whole lot. And I'll say this about both services, about UDisc, and I'll say this about this Disc Golf Network subscription. It's too early to really sync any of them, right? It's February. Hopefully by the end of the year, we know exactly what we're getting out. Because right now, we don't know exactly what we're going to get out of Disc Golf Network because they've made the investments, the changes. It's the first couple events. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see if this is a must-have service. Right now, doesn't feel like it. Maybe by the end of the year, it'll feel that way. Same thing with UDisc. Maybe now that they're not working with DGN or DGPT in PDGA, they can focus on making that app a great app for casual disc golfers. Because, like I said, I feel like I have to choose between whether I'm going to be a casual or a hardcore disc golfer and a casual viewer or a hardcore viewer. Based on my wallet size. That's how I feel.
Right.
We'll see at the end of the year what happens. I think it's too early to really, like I said, to really just say whether, one way or the other, right? So, yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about it right now. It's February. I don't have a lot of money. You're getting this service. I will be piggybacking off of you when I want to view, but I won't be buying it myself, right?
Right.
Just, yeah. That's just how I feel about it. You know what I mean? I feel like I could go on for a bit, but we hit the 50-minute mark. I feel like we've said our piece. I think we should wrap it up.
We should.
Yeah.
So, any plans to get out soon?
Yep, I'm going out next weekend. It's going to be like 56 degrees or something like that up here in Michigan next weekend. How about you?
I plan to get out. I mean, I got to see what the weather is. I haven't looked recently, but I've been seeing like mid 60s almost all week. So I will likely be out next weekend throwing.
I don't want to jinx it, but my father-in-law, he has, I don't know. It's so early. You know how the weather is. He looked at like the next 4 weeks, and they're all in like the 40s and 50s and 60s with no snow. I'm sure that'll change. We'll get a blizzard here soon, but it's like,
it is Michigan.
It is Michigan, but like, man, disc golf. See, I don't want to jinx it. I want to put my kids' trampoline out so bad, but I know as soon as I put it out, we're gonna get a huge snowstorm.
Yep, exactly.
So, yeah, I'll be playing. I'm gonna play on my lunch a couple times too, just to prep for next weekend. So, yeah,
cool. All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this content and episode 50. This is a big milestone for us. Again, go subscribe and like us on Facebook, not only the podcast channel, but mine and Brandon's as well. Give us that like, even if you don't watch our videos, just the subscribers and the likes help a lot. But until our next episode, you know what to do. Keep it in the fairway.